So,
Are we officially introing? Are we done? We haven't said anything incriminating or disgusting yet, so I'm just wanted to make sure.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, honest, do-gooding, and lovable James, and my co-host is conspiring, evil, conniving John.
Now we know who the heel is.
Let's go.
It's about time.
Well, I mean, hey, Vince McMahon did retire, so now we get Triple H wressling. He's gonna rename it. It's gonna instead of the WWE, it's gonna be the HHHE. Hunter Hearst Helmsley Entertainment.
Oh, no, it'd be the H3 podcast. Ha ha ha. Very funny.
Oh, man. So welcome back, everyone.
Hey, I'm John.
Aw, he stole my thunder. I'm James.
It's the name of the show.
I usually go first because I beat you to the punch. Only one of us here is advertising.
I'm advertising too, it's just not for our show.
Yeah, there's a problem with that.
No, there's a solution, and it's this shirt.
Oh, man. So welcome back, everybody. Episode 40.
Damn.
Season 3. Episode 4. Damn. It's been so this week honestly flew by. Like, I can't believe we're recording this episode. I literally just woke up and I thought it was the beginning of the week, but hey, here we are now.
That's what happens when we work for a living. Like, all the days bleed together.
I mean, big facts. And you know, it wouldn't be an intro without a wonderful game review.
Oh. Are you looking at me or are you doing one?
And near and dear my heart, in a very weird way, is the sport. I use the word sport loosely. Of Nerf.
Oh, did you play that new Nerf game?
What game am I talking about?
Nerf Legends.
Yep.
Oh my god.
So
even IGN gave that a bad review.
Yeah. No, so the Walmart near my house had it on sale. $5.
Wow.
I'm like, you know what? $5. Why not? It's something I might be able to talk about with all of you here on the podcast. Holy balls, is it weird, man.
Weird as in, like, not fun, or weird as in, like, I can't look away?
A little bit of both. Like, I love Nerf, so I wanted to keep giving it, the good old college try. But, like, the aiming is clunky, the shooting is clunky. Like, it feels like they started a game, stopped it, started a new game, stopped the new game, and then came out with the trilogy, started a third game, and ended the third game all in one. It is weird chaos, man.
It's the Duke Nukem Forever of Nerf guns.
Yep. So,
you think with a country that makes as many freaking first-person shooters and all of the, like, top-tier games that everyone plays across the world is shooting games, you'd think that would just be, like, a matter of course.
Exactly, but it wasn't. So it is getting the certified don't play it. I lasted a total of an hour and a half in the game, and I found a way to take it back to Walmart and get my money back.
$5 whole, and I bought myself some McDonald's on the way out.
No, I used that because I realized I was missing out. I didn't have Fire Emblem Three Hopes, the Musou Dynasty Warriors one, so that $5 went to that.
I would say that game only $5 because I'd actually play it.
No, that game was $49.
Well, it's the Nintendo price, so there you go.
No, it's lower than Nintendo price. It's the Walmart Nintendo price. Remember, new games at Walmart, always $10 off.
We are not sponsored by Walmart.
Shout out your local Walmart.
this upstart company who's really making waves, Walmart.
One game at a time. And fun fact.
We are never going to get sponsored by Walmart, and I am okay with that.
That's fine. Fun fact, I also learned something horrifying. So, as we all know, what's in March of next year, I believe March 23rd, the eShop closes for the DS, 3DS, the Wii U, right?
I've actually been scouring it to see if I actually want to buy the old Pokemon games, because outside of having an original Game Boy, you won't have any other real way to play them other than pirating. And I'd actually like to own games. Like, that's something that Nintendo does not like to really embrace, that people actually want to pay money for their old games too.
Yeah, they dumbs.
Yeah, they are. It's like friggin' this new Discovery Plus merger with Warner Brothers and how the CEO of that company is fucking over everything. I'm super pissed about that, but that's another podcast episode.
That's going to be John's junk drawer.
John's junk drawer. Why the fuck does this man hate cartoons this much?
So, if I tell you the game, Kirby's Epic Yarn.
Yes.
What do you think about it?
It's a Kirby game. So Kirby games are really simple and they're really easy to pick up, really difficult to master usually. But I remember Kirby's Epic Yarn being really, really easy to the point of like, I can't play this.
What would you do if I told you Kirby's Epic Yarn is now going for $109
On
sealed?
On what?
It was a 3DS game.
It was also on the Wii.
Yeah, nobody cares about that one. I'm talking the 3DS one. The Wii one I think is probably going to be like $5. I don't know.
Then just play that one.
But
what if I told you this game's really expensive, but this version isn't? Play the cheap one.
So the reason why I bring this up is it was in one of the random RPG groups I'm in, they collecting, and he's like, hey, blah, 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 first-party Nintendo games, be on the lookout for them. I can't believe Kirby's Epic Yarn is going for roughly $110, $109. And I'm like, what?
And do you have one sealed?
RBX, you know how they clearance stuff out?
Yes, I do.
So at one point, that was how I got my Xenoblade Chronicles X for $1.
How'd you get it for $1? I saw that. I'm pretty sure we had that. I saw that same copy because I remember seeing it there forever. But the sticker always said like $40. I'm like, what the hell is this? You just have to say like, hey, this has been on your shelf for like 10 years. Can I just have it?
Basically. But no, they had a Kirby's Epic Yarn. So you remember how most like 3DS games were like 35-ish, give or take?
Yeah.
So they had it clearanced at 80% off.
Damn.
So I was like, oh, shit. So I yoinked it, and I finagled a trade, and your boy is back.
What'd you get?
In the retro gaming section, because I finagled a trade of that and a couple other extra things, I got a 3DS XL again. I'm back in the handheld game.
Well, have fun paying.
Don't comment on what my RPGs are going to cost.
I was going to say, well, you used to have them.
I did. They went to a good cause.
They went to a good cause, me having money.
Exactly.
The same thing with my PlayStation. But since we're now just kind of opening the dirty laundry right now, I will wholly admit, Amazon is doing and I'm sure they've done this before, but I just know it now because it's a product that I actually was interested in. They sent out emails and said that if you would like the opportunity to buy a PlayStation 5, a bundle or just the standalone system, you'd have to request an invitation to purchase one. Me being the person I am, I just decided to throw my hat in the ring and be like, you know what? Why not? So, accept invite. Sure enough, I get an email, and it's like, you have 72 hours to decide if you want to buy this console. And me being me, I'm like, you know what? Wolverine and Spider-Man 2 are still on the way. So, that's coming to... We're recording this on the weekend. It's coming today, so that's going to be fun. Because Roller Drum's out, and I want to play it.
Guess who's back? Back again.
We're going to get copyright strike. Don't sing.
John is back. With a PS5.
That's not...
He's never leaving, he's never leaving, he's never leaving, he's never leaving. Fuck Xbox. Staying alive.
Your flow is terrible.
It doesn't matter.
You are... Just because you're white doesn't mean you can be a white rapper. Every white person thinks that.
A white crapper.
Oh, just like a turlet. Anyway, yeah, so that's coming today, and it has Horizon 2 in it, and I'm contemplating if I actually want to play it or not.
Play it... You enjoyed the first one. Play the second one. It's not like your typical open world. It's more of, you know it when you played it. It's more about the adventure than it is the this is open world. Blah, blah, blah.
But so we've talked about it before. You let me borrow that, and that was one of the few games you let me borrow that I actually finished because I liked being in the world. It was fun. But no, when I played it originally. The mystery of like how the world ended and that kind of stuff was kind of cool. I've heard some scuttlebutt about how Horizon 2 ends. And so I'm just curious as to if that's going to be a letdown or if that's going to be something I actually give a shit about.
Well, why don't you play the game and find out? You're going to own it.
Because they're like 60 hours long.
You're going to own it. You've dedicated hundreds of hours to Overwatch. You can dedicate 60 to...
You know how long a level in Overwatch lasts?
I'm assuming 5 minutes.
Yeah. So you can play a lot of game in like a few hours.
But yeah, so cat's out of the bag. John is a Sony kid again.
I'm an everything kid. I'm console fluid. Do not tell anybody that. Don't tell my parents.
So, I think...
You know what? Console agnostic. How about we do that?
You're console curious.
Oh. Because if a 3DO just walks by and it's got a fat ass, like, I'm going to want to slap that. I'm going to want to play that.
Shorty's got them apple bottoms.
We've already butchered 2 rap songs. Let's get into the topic at hand. What do you say?
So, after our last week's episode where we took a pretty awesome dive into the top 10 Sega games with some honorable and dishonorable mentions for the Genesis, I got to thinking, and John reaffirmed my thought, which I appreciate, a system that doesn't get as much love on this podcast as it should, the Nintendo 64. And we're going to take you down a wonderful, powerful, emotional roller coaster that is a top 10 list for the Nintendo 64.
And we promise that there are games that aren't just Nintendo games. We promise.
So, remember, keep your heart in hand for this wonderful journey that I am going to embark on with you.
No, you remember that old ad campaign where it's like, is it NU or get in or get out?
No.
Oh, because you were overseas when it was over, right? You didn't see the American commercials?
No. They had to they had to pay like a butt ton of money to show American commercials, so they just didn't.
Okay, because in the American ad campaign, it was basically like Gatorade, where it was like, is it in you? And for me, I'm just imagining Mario looking at you with glowing sweat, like, do you want it to be?
Do you want to? Do you want to?
Mamma mia. All right, with enough of butchering of rap songs and childhood heroes, how about we get into the list? What do you say?
Yeah, so don't touch that dial.
God damn it. We have to come up with a different segue.
Oh, okay. Well, so the whole is it in you thing, the commercial I do remember was the Quiznos commercial. Hey, Scott, why don't you just put it in me? And he's sitting on a therapist's chair, and he's like, no, I don't want to do that again. It hurt.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Bro, it was like Quiznos did not care.
Do you like butt stuff? Quiznos.
So we'll be right back. And just remember, put it in us.
Do you like butt stuff? Welcome to the Games with John and James podcast. We'll be right back. You're right. There are 2 sexes. The sex I have with your dad, and the sex I have with your mom.
Just put it in me.
Only $4.
What we are referencing is an old Quiznos commercial.
When Duke Nukem advertised sandwiches.
Oh my god.
Put it in my asshole, Scott.
Just do it. Do it right.
Duke, that's not the line.
No, I'm not Duke anymore. I'm called Dude Fuck'em.
Dude Fuck'em would be the best porn parody name. I'd actually watch that. Because they'd have to be one-liners.
No.
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum. I mean, I'm here to eat ass and kick bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum. Wait.
This pole ain't gonna ride itself, girl.
Andy, you want to fuck me?
Finish my line. Beep, beep.
I'm a creep.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Apparently, this is
that was Radiohead,
the porn edition.
Oh God, we're finally earning that explicit ranking. We might as well.
I mean, that's fair. So
it's like that episode of South Park where they're starting to do sex ed in school, but they're all on Ritalin. Mr. Garrison's like, "Yeah, we're going to talk about human reproduction, kids." You know, vaginas and penises, butt sex. And they're all just like not reacting. It's like, Cartman, don't you have some smart ass comment?
No, Mr. Garrison, I think that's a really good thing to learn.
And he sees Christina Aguilera monsters.
Oh, man. Good old
Remember
South Park.
when South Park was funny? Yeah.
It still is funny. The Streaming Wars. If you have Paramount Plus, it's a 2-part
No one
series.
has Paramount Plus, and no one should.
I mean, you get it free with T-Mobile.
Get in here!
But
I gotta watch Master Chief fuck.
oh, God. So we're back on that note.
You cucks Cortana. Spoilers for the Halo show if you give a shit.
So we're prefacing it like we did with our last episode. This is an aggregate list. They are in no particular order. What is the first game we mentioned could be your number one. Could be not even in your list.
If it's not in your list, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, that's a big facts because this first one, John, hit him with this legend.
I'm just going to say it because it needs no introduction. It's Super Mario 64, the most pioneering 3D action adventure platforming game. The game that literally every other game after it copied as a roadmap to success. If there was... There were platforming games in 3D before this, and they were in two flavors. They were Bubsy 3D, or they were Crash Bandicoot. And really, if you've played either, one of those is certainly better than the other, but nothing was like Mario 64.
It was revolutionary. It electrified the gaming industry because Nintendo had to do something. Nintendo's plans for the Nintendo 64, everything got changed after that botched deal with Sony, which led to by Nintendo's own design of being stubborn jackasses, led to arguably their stiffest competition for years.
Yep.
And they had to do something. Because at first on the PlayStation, you know, we had a few good games here and there, but once Final Fantasy VII hit, because that was 97, and if I'm not mistaken, Mario 64 was a
1996, yes.
Yeah. So they
got
knew
delayed a couple times.
They knew about Final Fantasy VII because that was supposed to be the big coup de grace for this is why you need a Nintendo 64.
Yep, they needed to introduce their presence with an authority and basically be the first name in fun. Because effectively, when you had the Super Nintendo come out in 1991, you had a 32-bit console in a 16-bit world, and that's why the Super Nintendo lasted as long as it did. And they effectively used their technology, because this is when Nintendo actually invested in graphics technology and burgeoning technologies, 3D capabilities and stuff, to make futuristic consoles. So they effectively skipped that 32 generation right to the, quote, 64. So they were using silicon graphics, you know, motion picture rendering engines and graphics technology and stuff to make their games. So indie workstations were made and Onyx stations were made. And I remember the development of GoldenEye was basically them trying to imagine what the final specs would be and making the game around that, and somehow it worked. So cutting edge, literally cutting edge to the point where developers didn't even know what they were making.
Mario 64, we can heap tons of praises on this. Like, this game is what cemented the Nintendo 64. Without Mario 64, I don't think that console would have seen the success that it had seen. There were some other powerful titles, but Mario 64 led the charge.
It was the ultimate marriage of game design and technology coming together. The introduction of the analog stick alone is worth it. To the point where now we have a DualShock for that reason.
And I mean, we hit you hard with this Mario 64, which, by the way, if you haven't played yet, you can get it. Mario 3D All-Stars. It may not be the best version to play. Looking at you, Nintendo, for cheap ports.
Yeah, I'm also looking at the PC ports now that basically have the 1996 promotional graphics in them. And that is awesome.
Hey, shout out to emulators.
Shout out to the modding community when they had that giant, like, code dump that they got from like, that they basically got a hold of somehow, and they rejiggered the code to make it run at 60 frames a second. Like, that's crazy. Nerds are crazy.
Hey, we like to support our fellow nerds.
Yep. Shout out to nerds.
Nerds. Nerds.
I just think of the fucking dude from Revenge of the Nerds where he's just like and shaking.
Damn, that's a throwback.
I'm pretty sure a lot of our audience wasn't alive when that movie came out.
Big facts.
But neither was I. But anyway.
So Nintendo hits you with Mario 64. That is an amazing right hook.
It's a great introduction to their entire console, that entire library.
And then they decide, you know what? We hit him with the right hook. We're going to hit him with the left hook. Nintendo, you think Mario. You think Mario Kart. You think other Mario games.
You think Mario Party, which came out originally in the 64 era.
But then you also think of their Kirby's or their Zelda.
I like how we're just like edging people.
So the left hook came with The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
A game that is still a masterpiece no matter what YouTuber says.
Like,
subtext matters, folks.
That game revolutionized the action. So I'll use the word RPG. Like, a lot of people in the JRPG community, they're up in arms like, Zelda's not really an RPG. Well, no, yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
You're doing quests, you're leveling up.
It is an action-adventure game where you acquire gear, you gain hearts, you level up. It's an RPG. And if you want the pure RPG, you go back to Zelda 2 on the regular Nintendo. But it's an RPG. Deal with it. Life moves on.
Yeah, nerds. Shout out to the shitty nerds.
The targeting system, the puzzles they introduced, combat that they introduced, the story. The Nintendo 64 was not known for story, period. And this game had it in spades. It was such a fun and refreshing game. The newer generation of gamers, they got to experience it on the 3DS when they did that remaster.
Which I actually still need to play. I have my 3DS for a reason.
Hey, look, game you need to get.
I already have it.
Oh, well, there you go. Then play it.
I have that and Majora. So I actually have a lot of really good 3DS games. So,
well, I know what you might be doing one weekend.
I already started Phantasy Star 4, but anyway. Yeah, it's actually kind of fun. And also I like how the main character is a woman. All right, don't jizz just yet. I haven't beat it yet.
But Ocarina of Time, so it took upon... So Mario 64 gave you the physics. It gave you that firepower to make your game that much more profound because you just wanted to be in the world of Mario 64.
And no load times. That's their whole selling point with, we stuck to cartridges because we want the user experience to be immediate fun. Yeah, you didn't just want proprietary ownership of all the shit you have.
Hey, I mean, that's a topic for another day.
Yeah. Fallen franchises Nintendo. What the hell are you talking about?
Oof. Well, that's where we get blacklisted.
That is when I see the picture from the Simpsons movie where they all have the torches in the street.
But honestly, like Ocarina of Time, it took everything from Mario 64. It enhanced it. It's a world that even to this day, regardless of how you feel, if you're a graphics snob or anything, you want to be in that world. It hooked you. I can't, like, I'm not the biggest Zelda fan, and that was arguably, that and Link to the Past are my top two favorite Zelda games of all time.
They're two of the best ones, so. Well, it's also funny, too, because I also like to take people back to, like, 1998. Because you look at a game like that really is cemented as a masterpiece for a reason. What could you compare it to in 1998?
So, I mean, there was nothing. We know 97 was when Final Fantasy VII came out, so the 64 did the smart, like, companies did the smart thing and didn't try to compete with that blockbuster.
Yeah, or at least in the same capacity, like.
And then 98 comes out, we get Final Fantasy VIII, which, ooh.
1999 was when Final Fantasy VIII came out.
I thought 99 was Final Fantasy IX.
No, 98 was... Well, 99 was for Final Fantasy VIII because it was also launching the same day as the Dreamcast.
My apologies. But no, there was no comparison. Like, if you look at it, the Nintendo 64, between Mario and Zelda, had two of the most iconic moments in gaming that are still landmarks to this day.
Yeah, again, the word I used was blueprint. Like, the foundation that everything else from the future generations of gaming is built upon was built in those two games.
Now, speaking of blueprints, this next entry in the list decided we like iconic franchise-based movies that involve Pierce Brosnan.
Remington Steele the game.
Hey, that's your porn name.
Remington Steele, quote, the game.
Yep.
Can I just be called the game? Shit, there's a rapper.
So, GoldenEye 64
Yes.
came out right at the same time its movie came out in Hollywood. Like
GoldenEye came out in like 95.
Was it 95?
Yeah, the game came out like way later.
Oh, whatever. So I'm bad on that, but no.
I like how I'm fucking nerd carding you,
Yeah,
and I'm not trying to. It sounds like that.
So GoldenEye 64, arguably the best multiplayer party shooter of a generation.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that is if you hear people talk about the development of that game, the multiplayer wasn't even in it originally. They didn't even want it. Nintendo didn't want it. And then when they saw it finally getting developed, like, hey, we got it going, so here, you can have it. And they're like, oh, okay.
And that's what sold it.
Yeah.
Playing as Oddjob, being a bastard, kneeling and shooting people.
DK mode, paintball mode, the cheats, the missions, the gunplay, the music, the everything. It was the
James and John experience when we decided to go into the bunker with proximity mine.
Oh, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. You still need to come over and play Die Hard Arcade with me.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I see so much of my childhood in these games that we're talking about. It just like takes me back. Like the story mode, it was fun. It's your typical shooter, whoopie-doo. But
yeah, it had a mission-based structure, and it played through seminal scenes from the movie, like the tank through Stalingrad and all that kind of crap.
The multiplayer, though, like once you learn the levels, like knowing where all the secret doors were in the pyramid, and then just like, oh, you're there,
yeah, popping out and just,
John and I using the golden gun in, I forget what the level was, but I kept getting the gun and kept killing you, and you were just like, God damn it!
Yeah, because there's no other like guns in that level when you play golden gun mode. You can't fight.
There's a clob.
There's a clob. Yeah, good for me.
Why aren't you dead? Why did you grab the body armor before the gun? James, that's cheating.
No. That's cheating. I had more fun with Conquer when we did sword fights, and every time I would one-shot you with the Magnum, just blow your head off. Boom.
I mean, well, since John said he had more fun with that, our next entry on the list is none other than what John alluded to, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
All right, so do you want to take the helm with introducing this game, or can I talk about it?
This one's... I just threw you the floor, man.
I'm just saying, because whenever we talk about old games, I always try to take people back to the time that they were released. Mm-hmm. And I think about Conker. And I think about how it was originally going to be another platformer game with a cutesy animal mascot, fresh off the line with the Banjo-Kazooies, which was another rare game, which, made waves and was also revolutionary in its own right. And then design changed on Conker. And things changed a lot with Conker. And if you play it now, especially like the story, the main, reason you play the campaign mode, I guess they're called now, story mode, whatever, it's very dated and has references to The Matrix and stuff like that, and Saving Private Ryan and all this kind of 90s, edgelord, early 2000s stuff. But it doesn't matter because just the novelty alone of that game sells it so well that, yeah, you want to drop people into a meat machine so you can feed a fat vampire until it explodes.
Or you want to fight the poo monster who's singing opera to you,
which is an iconic scene, or the flower with the huge titties,
or playing on inbred difficulty.
We talked about this in the last episode. It'd be so funny if the hardest difficulty was porn star.
Oh my god! Like,
how'd they miss that joke?
So
you could tell it was just those fucking good old boys from the UK having fun.
It was so much fun. So one weekend, I'm like, hey, John, let's do some retro gaming. You just got a CRT TV. I'm going to bring the 64 over. Let's have some fun. We play some GoldenEye, and then we get into Conkers. Mm-hmm. And we just can't leave. We had that moment of one more game, one more match. We tried playing with the bots. They're brutally fucking hard.
Yeah, they'd always get the flamethrowers and somehow manage to get us first. It's bullshit.
And then John and I decided, you know what? We're going to have this weird standoff. He had the Magnum at some point. I tried to samurai sword him. He samurai sworded me while I tried to chainsaw him. We had a literal pissing contest.
Oh my god, that's right. I forgot about that.
So he goes,
and I arc my salty whiz over the urinals, and I managed to hit you.
he goes into the bathroom and his gun goes away. And at first he was like, "Wait, what?" And he just starts peeing. He's like, "What?"
Oh my god, I'm shooting a different gun.
And I run in there. I was like, "Battle!"
Ugh.
And then I remember, I feel bad because I remember I was like, "Hey, okay, we're good." And then he stops peeing, and I end up killing him because he can't bring his wiener back out to pee because every time he gets hit, it stuns him.
Because it's, that whiz is salty.
Could you imagine if a game like that released today?
It'd be fun. It'd be too fun. And that'd be the problem.
Oh my gosh. Like,
can we just have a scene where Conker like smashes the person who's writing on Twitter about how offended they are by something?
I would be okay with that. Like, man.
The boiler with the huge brass balls that you had to smash with bricks. Yeah, the getting drunk and pissing over the fire demons to put him out.
It opening up and he's just like, oh, my fucking head.
He's hung over his shit and he...
What happened last night?
Oh.
Hey, Mr. Designer, no more surprises, please.
It was...
If anybody wants to hire me to do Conker's voice, let me know.
Hey, bring it back. Conker's Reloaded Part 2.
Conker Alive and Reloaded on the Switch.
Oh, man. It was so much fun. Even the sound design. Like, that was something, like, while we were playing the game, John and I noticed specifically the sound design. Like, that person deserves all the accolades in the world because from the initial impact of the chainsaw to the zzzz running through the teddy bear, the death throws.
Yeah, the death throws and like the background noise in the multiplayer map where it's like a war zone and you hear the bullets ricocheting from far away and you're like, oh god.
And it fucks with you because if you're not ready for it, you think, oh shit, I gotta hide.
I think that was the point, but...
Or the bazooka when you're just walking around and you're like, huh.
And you're like lugging it around. That game is ridiculous, but that's what makes it amazing. So there you go.
Well, when I get back into the 64 retro, that is the game number 1 I will be grabbing.
What else is good on 64? Well, we're going to talk about them.
Oh, I mean, speaking of what else?
Speaking of cute animals.
We went from a drunk, narcissistic, horny squirrel to...
my kind of video game character.
A fox who had aspirations of being a pilot.
And he did.
And had the most annoying sidekick ever.
I wouldn't call Peppy annoying.
Slippy!
Wow.
Fox! No!
My butthole hurts, Fox. Help me.
So Star Fox 64.
Yes, this game needs no introduction. They still have not made a better Star Fox game.
The Wii one, meh. The Wii
one.
Wasn't there one on the Wii?
No.
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking the Wii U one then. That one was...
Oh, Star Fox Zero. Oh.
Mega meh.
Like, props to Nintendo for wanting to make a new game, but also doing it in the most Nintendo way possible by making it unplayable, except their way.
Yeah. Looking at you, Nintendo.
Yeah.
But Star Fox 64 opens up on Corneria, like you're getting the feel for it. It just played ahead of its time. Just dodging the lasers, doing the little barrel roll to make them bounce off of your ship, and then the lasers fly at you, so it's almost as if it's like coming out of the screen.
A game of near infinite replay value.
Like, because there were so many paths. Like, obviously there's a limited amount of paths, but there's quite a few that you could do. You could do the super hard, go through the wormhole, fight Andross in a different way one. You can go the super easy one. You can try and go up the middle. Like
you can try and get all the medals so you can unlock his dad's sunglasses.
Oh man. So that was the game. I'm living in Turkey. I had picked it up. And my
Star Turkey.
I'd
play that game.
Star Fox's long lost adopted son.
When did I hook up with someone on Thanksgiving?
Let me give you my gobbledygook.
Let me give you my stuffing.
Stuff these turkeys.
Is that like Stroke Me?
Yeah.
We gotta stop parodying these songs because we're gonna make too much money.
But so we're in Turkey. I'm the only one in the neighborhood we live in. I'm the only one that has a Nintendo 64 at the time.
So you were the hopping place to be.
So we would come over. It'd be, hey, Mrs. Crow. Hey, Mr. Crow. All that shit. And then we would just sit down. Star Fox 64, Conker's Bad Fur Day, GoldenEye. It was great.
Did you play outside at all in those times?
Occasionally, yes. I went to the pool.
Okay.
I like to swim.
Okay. I'm just trying to, because like it's to me, I picture this 50s era idyllic like suburbia.
Dun, 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 dun. This is Utopia with James involving video games.
We invaded a country.
But it was so much fun. And then the multiplayer in that was also awesome because you could story multiplayer or fight each other.
Yep.
And being the tank when you were playing combat multiplayer was such bullshit.
Yeah, because you're on the ground and you're hiding behind like buildings and stuff and just like lurking.
And the planes can never fucking hit you, so you're always at an advantage because your barrel roll, it's not just like, I spin in place. It's, nope,
Literally
I launch
dodge.
myself out of your line of sight. Get wrecked.
I like how, as we're not even done with this list, but I'm also still thinking of honorable mentions as we sit here. Holy crap.
The Nintendo 64 was such a good time. It was the party system, it was the multiplayer system, but it also gave us what we enjoy in games today. Because we'll tailor it back to Mario 64. It gave us the blueprint of if my video game world doesn't make you want to be immersed in it, fuck off and don't play it.
Yeah, immersion was fun. Gameplay is paramount. That's the thing. It was the fun machine. Whereas a lot of games, and I will always praise PlayStation because Metal Gear Solid is still one of my favorite games of all time. Games were going in a direction that was basically trying to evolve the narrative and the story modes and stuff and really explore chase Hollywood trends because that's what they wanted to do. Nintendo 64 was just the fun machine.
100%. I think Nintendo 64, I think gaming at that time, it moved away from being this kind of like niche, like, oh, you're the weird kid that games. It started to become way more mainstream at this time. And in becoming mainstream, I get to pull a John here.
Uh-huh.
What do you say we're halfway through this list. What do you say we take a hot fire Nintendo 64 musical interlude and come back with the final half of this list? Oh my god.
You know about that, don't you?
I hate you.
I like to help Penny with her homework and then watch hardcore pornography.
I fucking hate
I like playing with brown bricks in Minecraft.
Oh man. And you're already recording again.
Yeah, I am.
I hate you.
I say if we want, we can play with some brown brick. Never mind.
I'm gonna make this better. So we mentioned that the Nintendo 64, it was the party game console, it was the multiplayer platform, it kind of brought you all together. Mm-hmm. Nintendo, they saw something, gave you the 4 controller ports, and it was just awesome. And one of the most amazing games that, God bless, still around today, we're going to say, this is definitely going to give it away, but thank you, Daddy Sakurai, for all of the hard work you have put into this franchise.
Kirby 64.
Die on a Fire.
That game was fun.
It was fun. It was fun, but it was not Super Smash Brothers.
Yes, Super Smash Brothers, the game that almost didn't happen because Shigeru Miyamoto thought it was dumb.
And boy, howdy, was he wrong.
That is the time where I looked at Satoru Iwata and I look at his legacy and I'm just like, yes, encourage Sakurai to make this game because it is the single most important game of all time at this point. I'm being hyperbolic, but at the same time, just looking at the final character reveal for Smash Ultimate and how they treated Sora coming in like it was the second coming of Jesus.
So it's the WoW. I equate Super Smash Bros. To the WoW effect because every new console we got a new iteration of Smash, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hell, we even got Smash on 3DS.
We did, and it's still fun.
But this game is like WoW. Everything is now trying to duplicate it. Nickelodeon All-Stars.
Yep.
Multiverses.
PlayStation did it in the PlayStation 3 era.
PlayStation All-Stars, right?
They could do that game again and do it right.
And
they could put Joel in there and he'll experience some joy and also be alive again.
Heyo. It's what we mentioned with Mario 64 and Zelda. It's a blueprint. Like it literally, if your party fighter cannot it doesn't feel like this in the sense where it feels like a complete game. There's no shitty inputs. There's no stupid gimmicks that just make it like toxically unplayable.
Yeah.
Your game is destined to fail. And it was so much fun. I remember playing this game back in the day. I saw the cover. I was like, wait, what the hell is this? So I loaded up and we eventually get to fighting. So me and some friends, and I remember picking Pikachu. Mm-hmm. And I remember being this little shitbag because I don't understand fighters at the time. So I'm just down being Thunderbolt, 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 Thunderbolt.
So you're my brother. Yeah, you're him.
And my buddy didn't know to move away, so he just kept getting Thunderbolted, Thunderbolted, Thunderbolted. And I took him from 0 to 180 while he was Donkey Kong and finally killed him with it.
Oh, Donkey Nog.
It was so much fun.
I remember when that game came out, and I vividly remember hating the fact that it came out in like early September because we were going to go back to school soon, and I'm like, why the hell do I have to go back to school when I could play this video game all day? This is all I ever wanted.
No, fuck you, education!
It's the same thing when Ocarina of Time came out. It came out like a day before I had to go back to school, and I'm like, stupid Nintendo. This is bullshit. I want to play video games.
That's how they hook the kids.
Yeah. It's the same thing that happened with the Dreamcast. I remember being in 4th grade and being in class and having to wait all summer, and I just started crying.
No, I need my toys!
I need my Dreamcast because it's already out in Japan and I can't afford it.
Man, like, Super Smash Bros. I
can afford Dreamcast.
Hey, yo, you have one.
I do. I actually want to get a Japanese one because the games are cheaper.
I mean, fair. The retro market in America is pretty steep.
I had the chance to buy a copy of Sonic Adventure 2 a few years ago when I was still visiting Oregon. I had a chance to buy Sonic Adventure 2 when it was only like $80. I should have snagged it, but oh well.
What is it now?
I can't find one anymore.
eBay.
I still can't. That aren't like, $100 are way too expensive.
Yep, that'll do it.
Well, so I'll just go on my Xbox and pay $10. So there you go.
There you go. Now, another iconic game coming up.
From the makers of Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Their main character is actually playable
in Smash Bros. Oh, could you imagine if Conker was in Smash?
Dude, that would be the most amazing thing. His Smash Ball would be he pops up behind the screen and he's just taking a leak on the stage.
No, he would do the chainsaw Nintendo 64 logo thing where he just chainsaw you. He would be... You never played Street Fighter V, did you?
I did once with you, and you fucking murder-lated me.
Yeah, that happens. Sorry. No, but there's the character Nash in that game.
Yeah.
And in Street Fighter V, he's like an emo zombie person. I can't remember what the story is about him, but his final like ultra move is where he like goes past you and he uses his like sonic boom stuff to basically just chainsaw you in half. So I'm just imagining like Mario being like, where did he go? Where is it? And he just dies.
Take that, you flat plumber.
He would say something racist. He's a British squirrel.
That is fair. But, oh man, so the reveal on this one, since he is in Smash, Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, we've talked about Conquer enough. Banjo-Kazooie. This was another game that was a landmark in the 3D.
This was another fucking Rare game.
It was another... Rare was in its heyday for so long, dude. I would give that window from Battletoads up to Perfect Dark.
I'd sell my left testicle for all of those to be brought back.
Yeah, well, Perfect Dark's coming back for the Xbox, so you can get an Xbox and play that.
Why?
You didn't know that?
No.
What do you mean, why?
God damn it. Now I have to take it out of development mode.
Well, you don't even have one.
I do have one. You know I have one. I got rid of it for Sonic and the Secret Rings, and I acquired another one through the same little raffly group.
Okay, good, but also you can go out of dev mode.
I don't want to.
Why? It's just a Switch. You just flip it.
I know, but I don't want to. It can stay my retro machine.
Don't say that on the podcast. The Xbox police will come.
But no, so Banjo-Kazooie comes out, hits the ground running. When Banjo-Kazooie hits, 3D platformers have they've hit their peak.
How do you do Mario 64 better than Mario 64? That was the question.
Exactly. Like, where do we go from here? And Rare somehow found a way. It didn't take itself seriously. It was just a lot of fun collecting those fucking puzzle pieces. And then if you wanted to be a son of a bitch and cheat, like, if you did it too much, oh, I warned you, delete.
Yep. Pissing off bottles was the funniest thing ever.
It was so great.
Yep. And then he gets his comeuppance in the second game when he just dies. That game is not on this list. Banjo-Tooie is not on here because that game... Why? Yeah.
Money.
I know money, but I'm talking about, like, why did it go the direction it did?
Money.
Why would you make a game purposely too big?
Money.
Sure. But also, why would you put him in a car building game? But whatever.
Yeah, I have no idea. But, so Banjo-Kazooie, amazing platformer, I'm stealing John's words here, very tight, very crisp.
Mm-hmm.
They built upon Mario 64 in the sense that textures were better, the overall world was better, the environment was better, the interactivity within the world was more engaging.
Mm-hmm. And it was all one giant, single, contiguous, giant playground. It was like the precursor, to Jak and Daxter. So,
hey, Jak, Daxter, we know where you came from.
Yep.
As well as Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, Ratchet and Clank.
The better game. According to Death Battle.
They're hacks. Anyway.
They're hacks. All that scientific data that you're doing and all those number crunchings for hours and hours over throughout the weeks, you're a hack.
And also revisionist history. You had Sonic beat Mario, then you had Mario beat Sonic. Why?
I still think the best Sonic thing they did was when it was Archie Comics Sonic, with all the bullshit that is that, versus True Comics Flash.
Oh, I remember that.
I linked it to you, remember?
Yep. True Comics Flash. Flash is overpowered.
Archie Comics Sonic is overpowered.
Yeah, but that's at least, like, funny because it's a funny animal thing and you're not supposed to take it seriously. The Flash is just, like, yeah.
What's that? I can reverse time, you say?
Oh, I can enter the Speed Force? Cool. Oh, I'm on a freaking drug-addled rampage through Iceland? Yeah, okay, Ezra Miller. But anyway.
No comment.
No comment. I already made it.
So honestly, like, there's not too much to say about Banjo-Kazooie other
because we're clearly not talking about it.
I know. It's a wonderful game, and the reason why it made the top 10 is because no other platformer was presented as perfectly as it.
Mm-hmm. And, like, the funniest thing ever is the stuff that you notice when you're actually paying attention. Like, Banjo and Kazooie, they're named after instruments, and that's why you collect music notes. Even down to stuff like that, you're just like, oh yeah.
What?
Again, you've borrowed my term, but the whole idea of the tight script and having everything and every aspect of the game reinforce itself. Yeah. Also, just as a fan of bears, bear character. Yay.
Big facts.
Mm-hmm.
And then trucking along, damn, it feels like it's flying by because this is just like a perfect nostalgia trip, man.
Well, I think our hype and we want to go see that movie too, so there's that. But
WWF No Mercy.
Okay, so we had a brief talk in the Junk Drawer episode about our history with wrestling.
Wrestling.
And the whole thing is that when I was a kid, I didn't really get to watch a whole lot of it because my parents said it was stupid. And so I never really got to watch main events or crap like that.
So I remember, so you keep that thought. I remember, so you sparked a fun memory. So my mom also hated wrestling. She thought it was pointless and dumb. My dad, at one point, said it's basically a soap opera for men.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it, it is, right?
Yeah, it's that kayfabe world, baby.
Picture 11-year-old James. He's watching the WWF in Hindi because that's the only way he can get it while in Turkey. So I'm watching Attitude Era, and The Rock is and my mom comes and turns it off. 11-year-old me, not giving a fuck. I'm like, Mom, you record to VHS your soap operas to sit and watch some stupid General Hospital thing. Why can't I have my version of a soap opera where there's fighting? I got slapped.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
But then she also was like, you have a point, but don't be a jackass anymore, and let me watch it.
Enjoy your bullshit.
As you were saying.
No, because in my house, wrestling was seen as stupid, so I never really got to watch it in my house. And so but we still somehow got a hold of these video games. So the point is that I was in the dark for a lot of the Attitude Era of wrestling, but we still managed to get the Nintendo 64 games out. And I remember playing as Rey Mysterio because I liked his cool mask.
Booyaka, booyaka, 619.
Yep, and I would always slap the hell out of people, and it was fun.
So, fun fact. Do you know who actually sings his song?
Wait, which his
intro?
No.
P.40.
Wait, what is it? Was it just one of their songs?
They made it for him.
Oh, nice.
And at one entry, I forget, I think it was either a WrestleMania or a SummerSlam. He's walking to the ring, and P.O.D. is there singing it live for him. It was right after, right after Eddie Guerrero had passed away back in 2005, and because they were so close. They were there, and it was like the tribute match to Eddie Guerrero, and WWF was like, you know what, this is an amazing moment. We're not going to fucking sports entertainment this shit. They let Rey Mysterio win the World Heavyweight Championship, and he's like the first true little guy to do that. So fucking awesome, man.
Pretty sweet. And I'm also just reminded of when The Undertaker's theme song went from like American Badass to Rollin'. And that's
rolling.
And that's why you got Fred Durst in a bunch of wrestling video games.
So the reason why WWF No Mercy is on this list. So the Nintendo 64, it's the multiplayer machine. We've talked about it from the mention of Mario Party to Conker's, everything else.
Yep.
But wrestling games were not that good back then. I mean, fuck, they're kind of shit now. Looking at you, 2K sports games.
The 2K machine, I can tell you some of the reasons why that is, but anyway.
This game was arguably perfection for the wrestling genre. It was pick whoever you want, Attitude Era wrestling. The commentary that they put in there was on point. And it was so awesome to be Stone Cold Steve Austin and stun the shit out of a friend.
Yep.
And then when you got finished with the game, it led to you stunning the shit out of your friend in real life.
They made wrestle buddies back in the day so the kids would get jacked up on wrestling and practice them on the dolls. But when that wasn't enough, it's like, come here, dude, let me try something.
So we were idiots. So this is back in Turkey as well.
Oh, God. You tried it at home, didn't you?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, no.
So it was...
This is why your mom didn't want you watching this shit.
It was me and three friends. We had finished gaming. The last game we had played that day was WWF No Mercy.
Mm-hmm.
And it was right when table matches were getting really big, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't have a table we could go through.
Oh, no.
So you remember Lincoln Logs?
Yes.
So we built the biggest Lincoln Log structure that I could be smashed through. So we choreographed the match, and it's my turn to lose.
I made a punji pit of Lincoln Logs.
We're doing a fatal four-way, and I'm in middle school at this time. So three of my friends, two of them do the assisted powerbomb, and my other friend leaps off my bed, grabs my head, and it's like an assisted powerbomb slam onto Lincoln Logs. and one of them hits my spine like straight, like the log goes straight up, so I'm just like,
Oh.
and I'm just like,
You turned into Chunk.
and they
A
thought
sloth.
they thought I wasn't selling it because I was moving too much, so they re-power bombed me.
Damn. Good friends.
I had this giant fucking log bruise in my back for like a week, man.
You tried it at home, and look what happened.
Good times.
Good
And
times of kids killing each other.
Speaking of good times,
Speaking of killing each other.
I'm gonna take everyone here on a journey.
Oh boy, here we go. Oh, if you
DK. Donkey Kong is here.
I'm just gonna let that hang there because that was like secondhand embarrassment. The show.
I mean, thankfully, nobody ever gets to see my pretty face, so I don't have it, and you can enjoy it.
Hey, can you autograph this? You're Grant Kirkhope, right? No, I'm not.
No, I'm that one guy.
I'm that one guy who did that thing on that podcast.
So, our next game, I mean, God,
So you've introduced people know what the game is.
yeah, it's
Just based on that alone.
yeah, I would hope they do.
But my question is I remember this game coming out and making not much of a splash. So why is it on the list?
When it initially came out, it didn't make much of a splash. Because remember, when it came out, you also had to have the expansion pack.
Which
And
it came packaged with.
some did, not all copies did, remember? Thanks, Nintendo.
I need to make sure that that's a fact. I mean, I really don't care, but at the same time, whatever, continue.
So, I might be talking out of my ass on that one. But
How many
no.
times have I gamer carded you this episode?
Quite a bit. No, so this game comes out with the expansion pack. You plug it in, play it, and from the Super Nintendo, Donkey Kong 1, 2, and 3, they were beyond critical successes.
Yep.
And they pioneered and revolutionized those the 3D models inside the rendered backgrounds and everything. Like they were revolutionary for their time.
Yep.
And so you get Donkey Kong 64, and instead of feeling good with traveling the levels, collecting the letters, turning into the fucking animals, that shit, you're literally playing all over Donkey Kong Island fighting K. Rool. I mean, hell, when you go to fight K. Rool, it's a boxing match.
Yep. And he was originally going to have actual weapons instead of their little coconut guns.
And people didn't like that it wasn't more of the same. We were still having a little bit of that kind of recalcitrant, like, I wanted this, so I'm not really going to experience your game.
At the same time, I also look at how annoying that game was. And having all the different colored bananas. And having the fact that you had to go to like a freaking swap barrel to swap characters to get up the different bananas. And all the different collectibles and all the different stuff in it. I think there was just too much.
They put quite a bit in the game. I think they were trying to take advantage of the expansion pack. I mean, let's be real. That's what it was.
Because that's the funny thing. Because Banjo-Tooie saw the symptoms of this kind of design as well, where they're just like, more stuff. More stuff in the game will make it better. Make it bigger. That'll make it better. And that's not really the best way to make your games.
Exactly.
So, I don't know. I just think of it like that, where you come out with Donkey Kong 64 and you think, sweet, the guys who made Banjo-Kazooie are going to do that with Donkey Kong. And they really just let it be too much.
So the reason why I put this on the list, like when I go back and I look, it's kind of like your Sega list. Remember, like games you played and experienced, you had to put there.
Yeah.
I did experience a lot of the Nintendo 64. I mean, fuck, I played Quest 64 recently and talked about it.
Oh, boy.
Even though they had put so much in it, it was still a joyously fun experience. From the Donkey Kong rap at the beginning to being able to switch through the characters, the level design, like take away the bananas and all that collectible shit, the level design was really good. Like eventually when you get to like the K. Rool area and it just as you progress, it just kind of gets darker and darker. Like that was good.
Yeah, it's a motif of Donkey Kong Country, the first one.
Exactly.
It's the same. Well, a lot of games like that did it. Sonic did it. You know, like you start in a very tropical, wonderful open nature versus science and technology type of thing. And then you go to like Kremco Industries and you see all the pollution and stuff like that. It was a very conscious design choice back in the day.
You know how we were like, you were like, we're make sure these aren't all first party Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Well, they're all first party Rare games.
Yeah, they're rare. They're Rare games or the Nintendo games, except WWF No Mercy. That was like THQ. That was Aki Corporation. So I was going to talk about that. This current state of wrestling games and how they're crappy now versus
Rewind.
Yep, the replay is back, folks. Freaking the reason why those games were really solid for a long period of time was because one company was really making them. It was the Aki Corporation in Japan, and they made wrestling games. I don't remember the one that was the terrible one, but WWE 2K something came out and it was terrible.
That was 2020 or 2019.
I think it was 2020.
Where like at one point you're literally playing as like clothing because the character model's not there.
Because they shifted away from Aki Corporation making the game, and they went to Visual Concepts, I believe. Visual Concepts is another developer who also used to make Madden games and shit. Tiburon Studios, EA Tiburon also used to do Madden games as well. But yeah, so when you shift developers like that and don't give them the proper amount of time to actually make a game, that's what happens.
Thanks,
Vince. Well, he's not in charge anymore, so. Okay.
No, he's finally retired at 77.
Yep.
So, honestly, Donkey Kong 64, it was a toss-up for me between that or Diddy Kong Racing. I enjoyed both of them, but I enjoyed Donkey Kong 64 more.
You know what I'm realizing about this list as we get to the last one? One of my favorite games of all time on this console isn't even on this list.
Oh, well, you know what? For our final entry, John, you said just now one of your favorite games wasn't there. I'm going to shift that one to another area. What's this game?
So
on the fly.
On the fly, huh? So, with the blueprint thoroughly established with GoldenEye 007, they wanted to make another GoldenEye game. The company, the holdings company of Bond wanted Rare to make the next game, but with licensing and all sorts of stuff, they really couldn't make the game that they wanted to make and do it in the time they wanted to, but they still had this strong foundation for first-person shooters. So What are you going to do? Well, why not just make your own IP? And that's how we got Perfect Dark.
Actually, we are not transferring anything because if you look at that list I sent you before the episode, that is this final slot.
Oh, no. I was going to say how Mario Kart 64 isn't on this list.
Oh.
And that's my favorite game.
I was going to say, no, Perfect Dark is on this list. I was going to move that away so you could talk about Mario Kart 64.
We'll save it for honorable mentions. There's going to be so many goddamn honorable mentions on this list, it'll be another podcast. But anyway, yes, Perfect Dark comes out, and it does the same thing that GoldenEye did. It revitalized this genre on this console in a very specific way that made it insanely fun to play. It was insanely creative. The Farsight gun. The sniper rifle that can see through walls.
Was bullshit.
It was bullshit, but it was awesome. I remember one of my favorite things ever was when you cheated in that game. There's one mission where you have to use an explosive crate near a wall to blow up the wall to infiltrate a building. If you blow up that crate, you get like the splash screen that says mission failed, so you have to restart the level. But if you cheat, if you get the Phoenix gun, which is another alien gun that has explosive ammunition, if you shoot the wall with the explosive ammo, after you blow up the crate, a splash screen comes up that says mission incomplete. It doesn't say mission complete, it says incomplete. So the stat of success and failure is literally just one half notch below the complete, and I think that shit is hilarious. Because I'm sure they were like, oh, we probably should have checked that.
We're here now.
And finding the cheese. To anybody who knows what I'm talking about, apparently there was some remnant of how they were going to do cheats in the game, and you had to find a hidden piece of cheese in every level. And finding the cheese in the Datadyne Institute hub world level was insanely hard, but also being the kid who knew where it was weirdly satisfying.
It's like that's the equivalent of being the kid that knew that Yoshi was actually at the end of Mario 64.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the rumors? It was, you could get to Luigi and play as Luigi, and then there's Yoshi.
There's a ninja costume, there's a gun power-up, there's all sorts of fun stuff in this game. No, but there is Yoshi.
That was cool.
Yep, and he gives you a bunch of lives, and then he pieces out.
But Perfect Dark, so when Perfect Dark came out, that was the main time I started my segue over for RPGs and everything. Like I was moving away from it, but I remember playing Perfect Dark, the stupid Farsight rifle. There was one friend that had fully figured it out, like took the time to like play with it, learn it, master it, and I'm just walking, just doing my thing, and all of a sudden dead.
Yep.
And so what we would do if you screen looked. Our like house rule, if I screen looked, I had to stand still and you got to kill me.
Wow.
So nobody screen looked, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm just walking dead. And I'm just like, motherfucker! So I look at his screen. I was that guy
shooting you.
So I look at his screen and he's like, your screen look. And I was like, I don't fucking care. I'm going to find you. He's like, well, what do you see? I was like, I don't know because it's in Farsight mode.
It's smart kid. Smart asshole kid.
To be fair, the only reason he did that is because the weekend before we played Smash Bros. And it basically became a 3v1. And his favorite character was Ness.
Oh boy.
And so picture a Ness going against a broken Star Fox back in the day, Donkey Kong, and Kirby.
Yeah, Ness is kind of low tier in that game.
Yep.
But also, I'm going to say this right now. I screen look all the time in games like that, so fuck you.
Hey, if
anybody has those rules in place, don't invite me to your house because I will screen look the shit out of you.
Hey, we were kids, man.
Yeah, but at the same time, when people were like, no, you can't do that, it's like, it's right in front of me. Of course I'm going to look.
So
I don't look at screen. Yeah, fuck you. There are people out there who are like militant about that shit, and it drives me crazy.
So
that's the fun thing. Cheat people and to make them more fun.
So that's the list.
If your game isn't on the list, trust us. There's a long list of honorable mentions, even some that James doesn't know about because I started thinking about more.
We may have to hot fire the honorable mentions, or we're going to be here for hours.
Yep. So in that aspect, how about we take a quick commercial break? I wondered what you were doing with your hands, but anyway, yeah, we're gonna take a bit of a reprieve right here. We had to hit the save point, chill out a bit, and then we'll be right back with our honorable, and of course our dishonorable mentions.
Fuck you, 64, for one of those dishonorable ones.
Blues Brothers 2000. What the fuck, man? More like Gay Brothers 2000. No, that's an actual porn. Oh god.
How do you know that's a porn?
Because fucking Aaron Hansen talked about it on a fucking episode of Paper Mario that they were playing.
I question your porn taste.
Everyone questions the taste of porn. All right, now that's a better outro. We'll be right back.
As we said, the honorable mentions, there's
so many.
A plethora of them. So we'll hit you with some rapid fire ones real quick before we can, deep dive a talk. First, actually, no. Pause, rewind. We're going to deep dive a talk. Mario Kart 64. Didn't make the top 10, but it is definitely a motherfucking honorable mention.
It's my favorite of the kart games, honestly. Like, I've played that game so much with family, with friends. I love it to death. I just can't get over it.
The Rainbow Road cheat, so good.
If you could pull it off, you were the freaking man.
Like, when you pull it off, when you do the jump and you're just like, oh, come on, and you hit the bounce, and it's not the bounce and bounce off, it's like that bounce into wall, and you're just like, yeah,
It's the best feeling, but also I have gotten that jump so many times only to fall right off, and I'm like, son of a bitch!
Hey, you have enough of a lead, it's fine.
I know, but at the same time, if you miss it, you don't.
I know, that's true.
That's very true.
The level, I forget which road it was, like Yoshi's Island with the giant egg, that was fun.
Yeah, Yoshi Canyon or whatever.
Racing through the freaking like busy highway was awesome because whenever you
Toad's Turnpike. You like Toad's Turnpike?
whenever you touched a car, you got rocked.
They just explode.
It was great.
It was great to like hit someone with a red shell and then they get hit by a car and
Yep.
it's like they're caught in a perpetual.
And then they get hit by somebody with a star because they've fallen so far behind.
Yeah, if you want to make a bunch of 30-year-old men pissed off, like have them play 150 cc's of old Mario 64 and they will get so mad at each other.
Yo, that was hard.
Yeah, a little bit. I like to, as someone who plays 200cc right now on the current Mario Kart and loves that. Yeah.
I mean, you're ridiculous. You're a glutton for punishment. As someone who plays 50cc, fuck you.
As someone who plays 200cc as a shy guy and completely, I have way more fun on 200cc than 150 or any other in Mario Kart 8 because no one can catch me.
Then my favorite thing from Mario Kart 64, honestly, the battle. The skyscraper, man.
Yeah, the skyscraper, block tower, the lava pit. Oh my god.
Getting...
Oh, and for me personally, as a Logic fan, he sampled Mario Kart's "Yeah, ha ha ha" in one of his songs. And I'm like, I remember talking to my ex at the time, and I was just like, now listen to the background and see what you can hear. And she's like, is that Mario? I'm like, yep.
Dude, we used to... so I'd be Bowser, or someone would be Bowser, and then you would be someone else. No other heavy. And you both hit the perfect speed boost to start in battle at the skyscraper.
It's the game of chicken.
And if it's heavy, you play chicken.
Mm-hmm.
If it's heavy, not heavy, you don't play chicken. You just run through them and they just squirt to the bottom.
It's the best feeling in the world when you can beat up your friends and it's fun.
And then, so the block level you mentioned and the battle, we used to, so we would give you 10 minutes to defend your territory.
Mm-hmm.
So you're flying through shells. You don't care about the red shells or anything, but you eventually get the green shells and you're just like, shoot this way, shoot the opposite way, and then shoot the other opposite way, and just make it it's like trying to invade Home Alone is what we would do. And it was so good. Like, we just came up with these quirky fucking modes within the game, and I loved it.
Yeah, like making your own house rules is a lot of fun. But we have to rapid fire these, otherwise we're going to be here, like you said.
So Bomberman Hero.
Yes, the sequel to Bomberman 64, the game where you can jump.
Who knew jumping makes it good?
Who knew jumping made it fun? And it's dope music. It had really freaking good music.
Bomberman Hero was awesome. The multiplayer was good. The story was good. I loved Bomberman 64. Hero took everything that 64 did and made it better.
The weirdest thing about that game was the salt bomb. Do you remember that power up?
No, I'm trying to.
I think the way that it worked was that there was one level that had slug enemies in it, and you had to use salt bombs to kill them. And I'm like, that is the most esoteric power-up to ever put in your game.
I remember...
Could you imagine having that in multiplayer where it's just like, my eyes!
Dude, you just see him melt down into a skeleton because you're all technically slugs.
Ugh.
Like, remember the nuclear bombs?
Oh, like the red ones that would just have blue fire and take up the entire arena?
Yup.
Yeah, that is, like, this is the fun thing about those old school games is that they weren't made to be freaking esports, so you could just have crazy shit where you could get overpowered as hell. It's like, so what's the strategy? Don't die.
Yep. Everybody's overpowered. Good luck!
Have fun getting nuked.
Like, and that weird pseudo top-down look for it that was like partial 3D, partial old Bomberman for the battle mode.
Yeah, the tilt camera.
So
They still do that in Bomberman R right now.
Yep. So
And they're
Bomberman...
making a sequel. Oh my god, new Bomberman coming out, guys.
We're gonna play it.
I'm gonna play it.
I like Bomberman games. We're gonna play it together.
There's also a Bomberman Tower Defense mode. I kind of want to play that. Konami's actually making games again. Yay!
Is it in the new one coming out?
Yep.
When's the new one hit? This year or next?
I don't know. I'm thinking this year, but because Konami is Konami and Konami is the worst, they don't really advertise their shit anymore. So we'll find out when we find out.
Hidden surprise.
More like, all right, it took 3 seconds to come up with something funny and it didn't work. Next game.
You fucking fail. So the next game, he flies in on a giant star. He ends up like swallowing worlds.
If talking about swallowing, it's Kirby.
Yep. Kirby 64.
A game that I was initially disappointed
with. The Dream
with.
Shards one, right?
Yes, a game that I was initially disappointed with, but then learned to immediately love because of the fact that, oh yeah, the combo mechanic was awesome.
Kirby 64 was so much fun. It was lighthearted. It was entertaining. It held your attention start to finish. It wasn't overly easy. It wasn't overly hard. And it just kind of gripped you where you're like, you know what? I want to finish this.
Yep, and Shiverstar was in it, which was a post-apocalyptic frozen Earth, and that's funny.
Yep. Oh, and this is the one where Kirby punches the world and like breaks it in half?
No, that's Superstar.
Okay.
That's the Megaton Punch minigame.
So
yeah, Kirby is a monster.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, Death Battle did Kirby versus Majin Buu. Guess who won?
If it's Boo, I swear to God.
No, Kirby won.
Yeah, of course he did.
Kirby at the very end also had his power, like kills him and gets his power and just starts walking around to the Waddle Dees and like chocolating them and then eating them.
That monster.
And I'm like, that is the perfect fucking power for Kirby.
Yeah, but it also would make him a villain, so.
No, he eats everything.
So he's like a freaking malevolent god.
Or benevolent if he's your friend.
So he's the DJT of Nintendo.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Man. So, and then we have a couple more honorable mentions. So John, right before we started, he's like, I really liked Rampage World Tour, and I stopped and I'm like, holy fuck, how did I even forget about that game?
It's because it's an arcade game made by Midway, and I remember renting that game a lot as a kid just because it was fun to smash buildings and eat people.
I remember old Rampage on the consoles before, and then into this, and it was just good. Destroying the buildings, eating the people, even fighting the other monsters.
Yep.
It was great. It was just an all-around good time.
Yeah, fun graphics, good style, and it was, again, I talk about the Nintendo 64 being the fun machine. Like, the arcade ports of, like, Midway games for the 64 were great, which brings me into my next honorable mention, NFL Blitz. NFL Blitz came out on everything at the time, the Dreamcast, PlayStation, arcade, Nintendo 64. It's not a Nintendo 64 game, but when you got 4 players and you had football going on, that was the best.
All I will do, for those of you who like NFL Blitz, miss the tackle. And instead of letting other people try and get the tackle, you keep switching to other defenders and just yeeting them at the runner or the quarterback. And every time you miss, it's just,
a little protection would be nice.
That one was fun.
Did you see that they're actually bringing the arcade cabinet out with Arcade 1-Up?
I did not see that, but that doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
What does surprise me is the fact that they've removed hitting after the whistle.
Gay.
I'm gonna cut that. But yeah, not a 64 game, but a damn fun one. And this is the last honorable mention for me. I don't know if you have any more, but as we were talking about Star Turkey, I remembered turkeys. And by turkeys, I remembered South Park, and I remembered South Park 64, and wow, that game is not very good, but I freaking loved it.
Don't kick the baby.
I loved it because freaking it's South Park, first-person shooter.
Yeah.
And you're throwing dodgeballs at turkeys and the Terrence and Phillip fart dolls and shit. And it had 4-player shooter multiplayer.
It was
made by the people who made Turok, and I'm like, okay, that's fine.
It was hilarious. I enjoyed that game. The kick the baby. Don't kick the fucking baby.
It was when South Park was like brand new, so they're like, well, what do we do with games?
And hey, they also gave us the Fractured Butthole and the Stick of Truth.
They did.
And those were also enjoyable. Like going to fight Morgan Freeman because he's an optional super boss and he just wrecks you.
I've never played the new South Park games. I've heard good things, but...
So in the Fractured Butthole, you can piss off Morgan Freeman, and then he comes out to fight you and kills you with burrito powers.
Why?
It's South Park. Who cares?
It's South Park. Who cares? It's been their MO for the past 10 years,
and it's been good. Kenny as a princess for Sony fighting off Microsoft Xbox.
Yeah, I remember the Console Wars episodes, and it was like Game of Thrones, but yeah.
So my last honorable mention. You think of multiplayer fun. You think of bazookas, shotguns, holy hand grenades.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Giant donkey statue.
Uh-huh.
Worms Armageddon.
Worms Armageddon. Worms is already a proven formula that just works and is fun as hell. Armageddon was great. And I played it mainly on PC, but there was a 64 port. You're right.
It was so much fun. I love Worms. For PS5, the Worms game that's multiplayer. I play
Rumble,
that.
Yeah.
Worms Rumble is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a competent team, Worm fucking deathmatch, yes, without having to wait turns and I'm just running around and roly-poly-olying into you. There's nothing more satisfying. Roly-poly-oly hit you with a sheet bomb.
Mm-hmm. Or a shotgun blast to the face, or jumped on you with the grappling hook.
Yep.
And using the jetpack, floating the grenades down. It's funny how Team 17 has pretty much survived entirely because of that game.
Yeah.
And Overcooked now, but... Yeah.
So, with honorable mentions, being as amazing as they are, these dishonorable mentions, we don't have as many. We have 3 iconic ones.
Yep.
And when I say dishonorable, if you were to grab one of these cartridges and run it over repeatedly with your car and record it, and then run another one over and record it and send it to me, I'd give you $5 each time you did.
And John Romero would do it too.
Now, the most dishonorable mention in video game history that is not Bubsy 3D, for me personally, is Superman fucking 64.
Superman 64 is legendary. And it's the kind of thing that since the origin of the internet, where people could kind of gather around and collectively piss over everything, it's things like Shaq Fu, Bubsy 3D, and Superman 64.
Yo, you remember when we defended bad games and I defended Shaq Fu?
I do remember that, and I still think that is an okay thing to do, because there are actually some merits to Shaq Fu. What are the merits to Superman 64 other than the Bruce Timm Saturday morning cartoon art style?
I'm flying through rings!
And nothing of value would be ever lost if we never talked about it again.
I missed a ring! Oh no, game over!
Lex Luthor wins because of the kryptonite fog.
God, that game. I would rather play Bubsy 3D, that's the only game for the rest of my life, than ever play Superman 64.
Oh, Superman 64 was just not fun. It just wasn't fun. Even bad games, you can still have some fun.
So the team behind it, we should waterboard.
Titus has made... What good game has Titus made? I'm trying to think. Because...
That's not good, man. You usually have this.
Yeah, I usually do. And I'm like, the squirrel game. No, not that one. Blues Brothers. No, not that one either. They were this weird British shovelware company. And what's funny is that the Sony PlayStation version of... Why did I say Sony? The PlayStation version of fucking... I don't know. I'm stumbling. I'm fumbling right now. I can't even speak because I'm just so blown away by how
bad that company was.
Yeah, and then they made the PlayStation version, and apparently that one was actually good. And then they shelved it.
Man. So, fuck Superman 64. I think we're in agreement, right?
Yeah, I think everybody in the world is in agreement with that one.
Now, this next one, I will be honest, I have never played a single game in this franchise period, but I do know that this version, this game, was ass.
Yeah, it was not fun.
What is this?
So everybody knows Gex. Anybody knows Gex. The 3DO mascot that became another mascot in the PlayStation Sega Saturn mascot wars of the 90s.
And is now, ironically, the mascot for Geico.
If they had Dana Gould come out and basically be like, I work for Douglas Fairbanks, I would get Geico insurance. No, but...
You have Geico insurance.
Just don't tell them that.
Oh, wait, no, I was just guessing.
Don't say that, it'll give them ideas.
You do?
Yeah, of course.
Aw, thanks, Gex.
Thanks, Gex, for giving me half price off my insurance. Anyway, frickin' Gex 2 came out. Deep Cover Gecko, I believe. Because Enter the Gecko or whatever. But anyway, this was a fun 3D platformer with, cheeky 90s attitude and all that kind of stuff for the PlayStation. Some pretty good fun to be had. I remember the hype around Gex 64 and how they're like, hey, Gex is coming to Nintendo and it's going to have a new level based on the Titanic. And I remember renting this game to go and play that level. And then it was a butchered port with just no extra fun to be had at all. And despite having a cartridge, it still had a password system. Why?
It's the same, look, it's the same reason. So this was not included to save for time's sake, because for every honorable mention or every game that makes the top 10, the Nintendo 64 had a lot of dishonorable games. Mega Man 64, this is what I think. PlayStation ports to the 64 were just the dumbest fucking thing
except
ever.
Resident Evil 2.
Because they learned from the mistakes of the countless other ones.
Yes. Good job, Angel Studios.
But no, it sounds like Gex 64 was just a bastardized version of the game.
I just remember that was the one time where I listened to the hype so much and I was like, wow, this is going to be fun. Wow, I was wrong.
Can I get my money back for my rental, please?
And Hollywood Video was like, no.
And so our last dishonorable mention is a game I personally have never fucking experienced.
Mm-hmm.
But John, when we were talking about this, emphatically was like, no, this needs to be here.
John Romero was going to make us his bitch, and he didn't. And that's really all you need to say about Daikatana on the Nintendo 64. If, I'm just going to throw a shout out. Go watch John Tron's original review, Daikatana Part 1 and 2. And now comes the part where you're backtracking out of desperation. And just remember, it's the first level of the game. Holy crap. This game was supposed to be... how the first-person shooter wars were something that happened on PC with things like... It was id, and it was Quake technology versus Doom technology and Unreal technology and all this new stuff that was coming out and making PC gaming edgy and new and cutting edge and all sorts of fun stuff. Daikatana was going to be John Romero's magnum opus of a first-person shooter video game. It did not do that. And there was a port for the Game Boy Color even.
Oof.
And it did not do that.
Isn't it wild to think that as the Nintendo 64 and that era of gaming was around, the best handheld you could play was a Game Boy fucking Color?
Yeah, it's funny because the Game Boy Color was basically the same innards as the original Game Boy that came out in 1988. Yeah, that console lasted for over a decade.
It was Nintendo's PlayStation 2.
Yeah, it was. And then the Wii came out, and then that was their PlayStation 2. And then the Switch came out, and then that was their PlayStation 2.
Yep.
And then Nintendo just kind of... It seems like I really am wondering what they're going to do after the Switch, because they really shouldn't. Whatever they're thinking, they shouldn't. But honestly, we could go on. We've already made this about the same length as the Genesis episode. So I think we're going to cut it there. If you have any honorable or dishonorable mentions, or you think we're stupid for putting Perfect Dark on our top 10 list, let us know. Because honestly, I don't want to hear it, but, that's about the whole engagement thing. So, yeah. leave comments.
I mean, our top 10 was half Nintendo, half Rare.
Why? Yep. And one outlier.
Why are Rare games so good?
Why were they so good is the question.
So, as always, you can find us on Twitter with John's magical Twitter fingers of power.
Yep, Games with J&J on Twitter.
Instagram, my awesome, reels now, because I have glorified this face with you at Games with John and James. And then on Facebook...
I will glorify Twitter with dick pics.
Ayo. We're also on Twitter I mean, why did I say Twitter? We're also on YouTube.
Yes,
Derp.
we are on YouTube. I need to get the new uploads out. We've been busy all week.
Yeah, no, this week has been a mind fuck of clustery fuck of busy.
A mind fuck of clustery fuck.
Hey, look! Wordplay.
Clussy.
Clissy?
Clussy. Clown pussy.
Clussy Clissy. But
Yeah, Clussy. Explain it all.
so this was the Nintendo 64 is arguably one of the better retro consoles when it comes to nostalgic memory and fun with friends. And we wanted to do it justice with a top 10 list. You can expect more lists because, I mean, we have John's favorite console in the Dreamcast that we can talk about.
We could.
We have the Sega Saturn. You name it. The list, well, we'll just say Panzer Dragoon Saga and call it a day.
No, we won't, because that game actually has merits that are comparable to Final Fantasy VII, but just because it was on the Saturn, no one really played it. So it's a shame.
So, but we have more top 10s coming your way. We have more pretty cool topics this season. It's going to be a lot of fun. So please tune in every week. And if you don't, you're fucking wrong.
Okay, Reggie. If it's not fun, why bother? If you don't have a 3DS, what's wrong with you?
Exactly.
Oh, Reggie.
If you don't have,
if we could get him as a guest he wouldn't be on this show. We swear a lot.
I mean, we could have a clean episode.
We've had a few in the past.
No, we've never had an episode where there was no swear words.
There's a few, I think.
No,
What about my shows?
You drop shit.
I drop shit all the time in a bowl. All right, we could extend this outro forever, but follow us on the socials, follow us on the YouTube. This has been Games with John and James, our top 10 Nintendo 64 list. Stay tuned for more lists. Stay tuned for new episodes. What else are you going to do?
You're going to listen to some awesome Nintendo 64 music here. That's what you're going to do.
Kids bring your parents. Parents bring your kids. We're your dads now.
I'm your fucking daddy, boy.
Can we just have a shirt that says, we're your dads now?
Yo, let's get that printed.
Oh, God, no. I need to make a new logo first.
It's just a penis.
It would look like a G.
It's a genus.
Oh, no, it'd look like a J because it kind of curves. Okay, enough. Stop. This has been the show. We're signing off now. Bye. Okay? Bye, everybody. See you later.